Good morning, everyone. Welcome you to the February 23rd, 2021 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. For those of you watching on Facebook, we welcome you to the meeting as well. We will begin as we always do with a prayer. So you all join me. Dear Lord, bless the deliberations of this group as we try to do good things for our community, our neighbors, our families, our friends, and all the citizens of Henderson County. Please be with our community and its first responders and healthcare professionals as they continue to deal and hopefully successfully deal with the global pandemic. Please watch over our men in uniform, men and women in uniform, and those serving both here and overseas. We ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
the flag
United
of the States of America,
to the
to the
republic
republic
for which it
for
stands,
which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Measure Southern.
Here.
Measure Moran.
Here.
Measure Putman.
Here.
Measure McCollum.
Here.
Measure Barry. He was here.
He's probably still
was.
muted.
We lost him a second
Yeah, we
there.
lost him, I think.
Here he
There
comes.
he
There
is.
it is.
There he is.
Yeah, mine just shut off for a second.
Measure Barry.
Are you here?
Yes, here. And down. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have in your packets the minutes of the February 9th fiscal court meeting. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved. So second.
We have a second by Master Putman. Who made the motion, please?
Charlie.
Charlie, gotcha. We have a motion by Master McCollum, second by Master Putman. Any questions, corrections, clarifications, additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And Debbie, you want to fill us in on everything going on out at Humane Society and with animal control?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
Having a little technical difficulty here. I'm being bombarded with these little cuties. I thought y'all might want to see this morning.
Don't do that to us.
Oh,
I know.
the bait.
Kitten season is coming. I know you guys have all been aware of the problems we're having with the cat population problem. So we're really trying to come up with some solutions for you. So just hang on, and there's more to come on that. We hope to be having another spay and neuter clinic for the local community, low cost, thanks to a grant through Kentucky Humane Society, who is actually coming today to pull these little babies to rescue. They're a really big help to us. So I'm pretty thrilled as far as that. You've got the financials. If you have any information for me, financials look great. One reason, of course, is because we only had one animal control officer for quite a while for the fiscal year so far. January still looking really good. Our numbers are still, as far as the ACO calls on animal control, most of them are running at large. We're still having trouble trying to confirm that people are getting their rabies updated every year. They do now. Some vets offer the 3-year rabies vaccination. Most of our follow-ups and calls are now just because we're not getting that proof of rabies verification. So it's very important that the public and everyone knows that if you have a domestic cat or dog, they must have a proof of rabies every year. Dogs following here, a city county tag as well to have it licensed through the city, which is only $2. So please keep your animals in your yard and everything will be fine.
Hey, Debbie, that number, I don't know what it was historically, but to year to date was about 2008, about running at large. Is that about normal?
The numbers are going up every year for running at large. We've even increased a lot of citations. We try to give you a, first time, shame on you kind of thing. The third time they get a citation because it's in our ordinances. You cannot let your animals run at large. And some of them are not very friendly as well. So we continue to see that number go up every year.
I see it's 24 to 23 to 30, somewhere in that range. Is those typical numbers though? I mean, I know you say they're kind of going up, but is it due to lack of manpower or anything?
No, not at all. And I think a lot of them are in the county.
Yeah,
people
so
don't
I
want to
got
keep their animals chained up or locked up out in the county, and I get that.
Got it.
But you still have to keep them off of other people's property, and that kind of seems to be the issue there.
I know in the city, it seems, especially where I live, it seems like there's a lot of these pit mixes that run at large. I mean, they come through, and of course I got a Labradoodle, so I don't, you really got to be careful if she's outside with, but they kind of come and go. They're spotty, and and they just disappear. You try to see, you think they're your neighbors, but who knows? And I think, well, I've never called because they usually just go away, and it's usually 2 or 3 of them. So I assume there's somebody's dogs right here close that's just got out. But
and the community has been amazing, trying to help us with things like that, especially with the cold temperatures that we just experienced. If they found a dog, they would kind of hang on to it and post it on the Lost and Found Pets page on social media. We would kind of do some searching, and everybody collectively would find the owners, which is amazing because they would never survive in those extreme temperatures that we had. So it's just really important that people either keep them in the house, get a dog house, a kennel, a garage, keep them on a leash. Not all dogs are friendly. So you've really got to be careful.
yeah, well, I don't want to beat that to death, but I seen that 208 total, and I was thinking, we see a few like say around here, just, but I've never called. Maybe I should, but I hate to increase business that much. But they usually say I've tried to follow. Matter of fact, I thought I knew where one of them, and picked him up on a golf cart and took him over to who I thought was the owner, and it wasn't. So, I ended up, he hung around here at the house and he just disappeared. Nice dog, but anyway, thank you, Debbie. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Debbie, do we have anything is there any laws for cats?
No, I can't.
No, sir.
God.
That's one of the problems as well. I mean, technically, if they feed them and they've had them over 30 days, they're basically their cats. But you have a lot of the community that will feed the community cats because they don't want to see them starve. So they're not getting vaccinated. They're not getting rabies vaccinations. And the only thing that they can do, because we don't pick up cats either unless they're injured, is to trap them and bring them to us. Which, this past year was the first year we've ever stopped intakes if we were at full capacity, because I have nowhere to put them. But luckily the community as well has been amazing. I keep a waiting list trying to get them in and out, and we haven't ran into much trouble that way. But without spaying and neutering them, we're never going to fix the problem.
Yeah, because there's nothing on the books. There's no legislation that governs felines. So Tim, I've had my share of those issues. Trust me.
And I've got plenty of cats, and I don't own one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
You're
and
feeding them
making-
out there by your green bin. They're yours.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been catching them and taking them to my grain bins.
We'll be having that discussion about updating our animal control laws here shortly as we review all the ordinances, and that should be happening this year, this calendar year. I know in my case, I don't want to be responsible for stray cats out in the county if they hang out in my yard for a while. So it's a tough question.
Yeah.
We'll be going over that. Any other questions of Debbie?
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you for your visit. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
You have in your packets the sheriff's monthly report. Sheriff Brady, anything you want to add to that?
Oh, Judge, just routine receipts.
Huge compliments to your guys over the last couple of weeks. I know they were out dealing with slide offs and the accidents that go with bad weather. So kudos to them. Always professional, always trying to help.
Thank you, Judge. And this might kind of fit under the good of the county, but I go out to Hubbardsville store every morning about 6:15 for breakfast, and the crowd out there brought this up. I didn't bring it up, but it shows the public notices. They were all bragging on our county road department. They said the county roads were in better shape during these storms than the state highways were. And they just thought the county road department did a great job, and they did. Long hours, very dangerous situation. And thank you for saying that about our deputies. We called them out. They worked a lot of overtime, long hours. I think the worst damage we had done to any piece of our equipment, we bent the rim on a car on a curb because it was snow covered. But they did a great job. And I think our county employees came through like champions, as they always do.
Yep, I agree. Any questions about the sheriff's reports?
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion by Master Putman, second by Master Southard. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate that. Next, we have County Clerk's report, which was in your packet. And it does not look like Renisa is with us at the moment, but any questions about those? Kurt, if you want to recite them real quick for us.
Yeah, Renee is off today.
She's on vacation. That's right.
She's on vacation. She did turn in a check yesterday for excess fees for the month for $108,454.85. So the total remitted to the county for the month of January was $143,475.72.
Motion to accept those.
So moved.
I move accept.
Motion by Master Southern. Master Moran, would you like to second?
Sure.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Gold, your payments?
Judge, I've got several checks today. The first is dental and life insurance, $485.34. Health insurance, $6,341. Aflac, $124.94. A flow through from the city, $458.33. Interest in the amount of $21.38 for today's total of $7,430.99, bringing the fiscal year total to date to $114,294.78.
Thank you. Motion to accept those.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Master McCollum, second by Master Southard. Any other questions of Mr. Gold? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thanks. As you know, we've been talking for quite some time about being able to complete our portion of the long ongoing 911 upgrade. And we have been able to do that. We satisfied the county's portion of that project. And we are now in a position to pay off the rest of the bond that we took out to participate in the 911 upgrade. Finance Committee met yesterday to talk about being able to do that and get that debt off our books in the general fund. And I think we were all in agreement that not only is it affordable for us, but a good thing to do as soon as we can. And I thought, well, there's no better day than today. I'll leave it up to Master McCollum or Master Putman to offer any further insight.
Well,
I think
Judge, if I'm, go ahead, Charlie.
No, I just think it's a good idea. I agree with Brad.
Yeah. You know, it's $1,450,000 that we're going to take off the books. And just like my household, the more I can get off those books and get to that neutral payment is just good for business. So yeah, I'm all in myself.
Yeah. By defeasing this bond, or paying it off, it'll be the third bond in 3 years that the county, including the detention center, has been able to put to bed, so to speak, and pay off. And the original of those three bonds, the original amounts that we borrowed were well over $14 million total. So it is quite an accomplishment, I think, to get these paid off early. And with this defeasance, the general fund will be completely debt free. We will only have one bond outstanding, and that was the bond that the county took out to expand the jail at the kitchen, which was certainly much needed. And we're in conversations with the jailer about, perhaps defeasing that bond this year or maybe next. A lot of things that are up in the air for Jailer Brady when it comes to COVID and her budget, but that's absolutely a possibility. But I want to just make sure that everybody's on board. It's as Master Putman mentioned, we would be taking 1.45 million out of our reserve to add to the approximately 1.33 million that was unspent with the bond, and we can turn back towards paying it off. So it would be quite a thing, quite an accomplishment, I believe. And so just a quick voice vote to go ahead and do this. And then we'll have a reading of a budget amendment to actually take action, move that money. So can I get a motion to move forward with the defeasance?
So made.
So second.
Master McCullum with the motion and Master Putman with the second. Any other questions about this? And I will say we can easily afford it. I'm thankful to say we can easily afford it. So all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Brad, one question. Is the Judicial Center bond paid off?
2026 is when it gets paid off. We don't pay that. AOC does.
Okay.
It is a bond to the county. I had just sent the county judge a text about that, reminding him about that, but it is a flow through in that the AOC pays the rent on that, which takes care of that bond.
Okay.
But we still hold the bond, right?
Huh?
The county still holds the bond. It's just a flow.
Right.
Right. And
It's
and
not
I
a-
would, like it is, that's not one, since it's a flow through, you never know what the state's going to do. If it was paid off, or if we put our money up, the state may say, well, we're not going to send any more money. So
Right.
I don't
No,
have an off.
We hold the bond, but the debt's not reflected on our books.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And with that, I will turn it over to Treasurer to have first reading of the amendment, pulling in 1.45 million out of our reserve to defease the bond. Ms. Ryder?
This is the first reading for the budget amendment, amending into the general fund from prior year carryover with corresponding expenditure account of general fund 911 debt service for the 2015 series bond. The amount is $1,450,000. This is to be set in an escrow account to satisfy the payments of this bond until the requirements are met.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Master McCollum, second by Master Southern. Any other questions? A reminder that this will pull that remaining bond amount, which is in our general fund, and we'll erase that and also erase the annual debt payments that we have to budget in each year. So it's a great thing. Nobody else has any other questions? Or ask everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you very much. It's a good day. And Ms. Ryder, we'll go on to the second reading of the budget amendment that we heard about last meeting. I'll let you describe that again.
This is the second reading of the budget amendment, amending in receipts with corresponding expenditure accounts for the general, federal grants, and road funds. The total amount of this amendment is $2,212,638.35. The breakdown for each of these, the revenue with corresponding expenditure is general fund, COVID-19 relief fund, $1,539,228. Federal grants fund, COVID-19 relief fund, $574,169.81. federal grants, COVID-19 cares, elections, which is for the clerk, $11,540.54. And then the road fund for the Kentucky State Treasurer grant reimbursement for Ohio Drive in the amount of $87,700. Again, the total amount of this budget amendment is $2,212,638.35.
Motion to approve second reading.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Master Putman, a second by Master Barry. Any other questions? Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you very much. Great to get that money back from the federal government, various levels. And now we'll move right into fund transfers. Brenda, we're going to distribute some of these funds around our budget.
The fund transfers are as presented. The first is redistributing road funds within the current fiscal year. Then, as approved in the previous meeting, transferring $25,000 from the general fund contingent appropriations to the LGEA fund to be distributed to the Henderson Recovery Restoration Fund. Then also there is a cash transfer from the general fund to the jail fund in the amount of $1,010,178.10. And what this is part of the COVID-19 relief funds that we just amended into the budget with the second reading. And this is to transfer from the general fund to the jail fund and represents the March through June 30th, 2020 jail payroll that was eligible.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Master McCollum, second by Master Southard. Any questions about those? You'll recall we approved the $25,000 last meeting for that relief fund, local relief fund. I'm going to have Mr. Hubie in a minute about some of the extra expenses he incurred with the snowstorm the last couple of weeks. Without any other questions, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Ms. Ryder, claims?
You have your bank balances after paying claims today. Your day-to-day appropriation line item should be at approximately 66%. I do have additional claims from the general fund to Evansville MPO, which is Metropolitan Planning Organization, $5,858. This is Henderson County's planning share for the calendar year 2021 and is to come from the advertising of fiscal court appropriation line. To Renisa Abner in the amount of $4,372.96. This is training incentive and is to be paid with the March 4th, 2020 payroll and is to come from the clerk's training incentive appropriation line. Also from the general fund to Magistrate Putman in the amount of $4,372.96. This is training incentive, which is to be paid with the March 4th, 2021 payroll and is to come from the fiscal court training incentive appropriation line. These are all the claims.
Any other questions about claims? In the finance?
Move to approve. No. I'm good, Judge. Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Master Putman. I believe that was Master McCullum with the second. That was a running second, running into the picture right there. Is he can multitask, ambidextrous. Any other questions about claims? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I will note that, as Ms. Ryder said, we are at approximately 65% on our appropriation schedule. The general fund to date is at just 53.5% of expenditures, so we're ahead of the game there by approximately 10%, which is excellent. And overall, The entire budget is at 54%, including jail, which is also excellent. So our department heads continue to be frugal and strategic with their spending, and our revenue, not even if you don't count the CARES Act money that we've received, we are close to already having matched our revenue goal for the year, above line revenue goal. So I think the Finance Committee yesterday was very pleased overall, and things are tracking well, thank goodness. And then you add the CARES money on top of that, it's a good bonus to have in case something goes haywire the last 4 months here. So any other comments from the Finance Committee about those items? No. Okay. Ms. Ryder, anything else?
No, thank you.
Before we go into the good of the county, I will ask Bill Hubiak to make any comments he wanted to about the last couple of weeks and the expenses that you incurred in dealing with the snow.
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to thank the sheriff for his kind words and passing that along. He spoke with me the other day in the parking lot briefly, and I did pass that on to our people, Sheriff, and I appreciate that. So hope all your people were safe too out there. Last 2 weeks, Mother Nature has not been very kind to us, but we did get through it without any injuries. We had 2 incidents where 2 of our plow trucks did slide off the road, and we had to have tow truck come and get them back on the road with no damage to any of our equipment at all. So that was a very good thing. Total cost to the county above and beyond our normal daily operating cost was $45,000 for the 2 weeks. Breaking that down a little bit, that was about $9,000 in overtime hours, and the rest was in equipment and fuel and materials. So it was an expensive 2 weeks for us. Like I said, that's the amount above and beyond our normal daily operating cost. So we have since taken all of our equipment back down and checked everything out, did some preventive maintenance on it while we were cleaning them all up. We depleted our reserve in our salt storage building at the road department, had to replenish it once during the event. And while we were doing that, we noticed some corrosion on some of our support cables in the cross bracing of the storage bin itself. So we're in the process today of reworking the support cables for the reinforcement before we replenish the supply of salt and sand in the building itself. So we did use some of our 300 tons of salt that we purchased this year, and we probably have only used about maybe 60 tons of it. And after I replenish the salt supply in the building from the Riverport storage, I'll give an update to the court on how much salt reserve we will have at that time. So, but we should be in pretty good shape for, hopefully we won't have any more winter. But
Well, you know, in Kentucky, they say when the SEC tournament gets here, winter is over, spring has sprung. So it's right around the corner. Hopefully we'll avoid any more snow. And Bill, with the overage that you incurred, you know, just check back with us as line items get close to being at 100% and perhaps go over, and we'll transfer in the necessary funds to make it all good.
our overtime line item is 20,000 is what we budget normally per year. We a lot of times never even use much of it at all, but right now we're probably at about 45% with what we did here the last 2 weeks.
We'll be watching it closely and we'll help you wherever we can.
So we were in a state of emergency. Does that put us in where we can get any state funding for any of the expenses we incurred?
We never declared a state of emergency for the snow event.
Oh, I thought the governor did. I thought he put the whole state in.
I'm not sure it covered us in that way.
It didn't. It covered, excuse me, it covered the state's closure of buildings and things along those lines. It was basically that mandate at the state level to do things. We would have had somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000. I believe it is, Bill. You might correct me on that if we had that kind of damages before we.
It's like 128,000
That sounds right.
threshold before we even kick in.
Yeah, that we'd have to have that amount of damage before, assuming we declared a state of emergency, which we didn't, before we could actually claim that through FEMA once the president declares it an actual a disaster, which he didn't do. So that doesn't mean that the state won't apply for that, because they very well may, because right now we've got about 90 counties and cities throughout that have already declared. So it very well, if they meet that threshold, the president may go ahead and declare this a disaster, but it's still ongoing. So we don't know yet.
Thank you.
Good segue. If Bill, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to turn it over to Kenny, maybe give us an update on those and other items on his plate. Kenny?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my
Morning.
screen real quick, and just so that I can show you something here. Let's see. We'll go here. And then how's that? Can everybody see my screen?
No.
I'm sorry?
Haven't got it yet.
All right, one second. I just got to hit the button.
There it is.
Okay, here we go. All right, so this is, I wanted to just take a minute and kind of go through just something real quick, something that affects everybody. As some of you know, we have purchased and are using a new disaster management piece of software that helps us with the flooding issues and severe weather and things along those lines. So one of the things that I want the public to know about is a new way of basically reporting damages. So if you have damages from severe weather or something along those lines, I posted this on Facebook this morning, kind of pushed it out to try to get the word out a little bit better. I thought this would be a good way to do that also. But basically, if you come to our website, which is hendersonema.org, and you get here to the page, you'll notice that we've got some new preparedness tips and things like that here for all kinds of different things for folks to get information on. Over here in the resources page, I've added self-reporting. So if we click on self-reporting and we bring that up here, basically it just brings up a page that says complete the form below to submit any damages directly to us, to our emergency operations center, which we can actually put up on a big screen and monitor at any given point. It's a simple form. If we have more than one emergency event going on, you basically select the event and fill out the form. When you get to the bottom, you can add pictures. It'll ask you a couple of questions, and then you basically submit it. Once that's done, that comes directly to us, and we can turn around and take care of it. We know ahead of time, sometimes faster than what we might have to if we go out and do damage assessments where we actually check roads, we check structures and things like that. So this lets the public be more proactive and help us know where those problems are at. So that's a self-reporting tool that has just been launched today. I'm encouraging anyone who's had damages through this last couple of weeks, we'd like to know about it. So you can send pictures to us and just for informational purposes at this point, but just one of those tools that's out there. I just want everybody to know about.
Thanks, Ken. It is worth noting that we're coming up on the year anniversary of the F2 tornado that hit Henderson County last March, caused a lot of damage. And we will hope and pray that we don't have that kind of experience again. But spring is a season here for rough weather, so
That's right. Yeah.
everybody needs to be safe. And Kenny, I'm sure, is getting prepared in many ways. We have a severe weather kind of little meeting coming up to get prepared in that way. So
March 1st, we'll be out at the fairgrounds. It'll be a news conference. Basically, we'll be going back and talking about last year. Judge, when you and I, we kind of rode around the county and looked at some of that damage, and they'll be kicking off their severe weather season right here in Henderson this year. So that's good.
knock on wood. Thanks for all you do, Ken. One of the very best EMA directors in the state, in my opinion. Brent Jacobs is with us, and Brent has a request at fiscal court, and he and I have talked about this quite a bit. And I'll begin by saying I really appreciate everything Brent does. He is one of the most flexible and versatile employees we have at county government, and handles the IT needs of just about every department, and goes above and beyond that. He really does even more than that. So, and he rarely asks me for things, rarely. He just takes care of his business, but he has a request of us today, and Brent, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, I would like to request for us to go out to bid on a Dell EMC Power Store SAN to replace our Dell Compellent SAN that was purchased in June of 2013 that is nearing end of life. As I said, it's nearing end of life and the cost of maintenance is increasing, where a new system would come with several years of warranty. So I'm requesting us to advertise for this in the paper and hopefully open the bids at the next meeting.
And for the technologically challenged, including me, what is a SAN?
It is the device that basically stores all our data in the county. It's a storage attached network device. We have 2 servers that do the processing, but all of the data is stored on the SAN. So it's pretty important.
It's a crucial piece of our network and our equipment.
Yes.
And if it goes down, you'd have a tremendous amount of work restoring everything, correct?
Well, I have multiple backups that would make it real easy, but I'd have to have a place to put the data. Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Master
Second.
Long, second by Master Barry. Just so you know, I mean, this is going to be in the neighborhood of about $60,000, depending on the bids. Is that fair to say, Brent?
Yes, it is. And currently we're paying 11 to 12,000 a year maintenance on the old system.
Yeah. So we'll
Will the
recoup some of
warranty
this.
cover the maintenance?
Do what?
Will the warranty cover the maintenance on the new?
The new system comes with 3-year parts and labor warranty. So that would be 10,000 I don't have to budget for. Or,
Right, which would be half the cost of the thing.
right.
We can, this is not in his budget. This is just something that has come to a head here and needs to be addressed. And we have money in the contingency fund to deal with it. So, any other questions of Brent before we send it out to bid? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Brent, thank you for taking care of us and watching these things.
Yes.
Well, thank y'all.
No doubt, no doubt. Bruce Farmer is with us, and I know that Bruce and Steve have been working on a new lease for his office at the hospital. Any updates on that?
We've communicated our requested changes to the hospital judge and are awaiting a response or potentially a sit down with them to discuss.
Yeah, we working on the lease agreement, then also with the agreement on the answering service. And I'd like to thank County Attorney Gold for all of his help in trying to sort through this. Because like I said, the legalese part of it has got me. That's the reason why we've got a good county attorney. And we're working with it. Hopefully we can work out something with them. But that's about where we stand right now, is waiting. The ball's in their court to throw it back to us.
I hope we can address that by next meeting, perhaps approve a lease deal. Get that done. I know a lot of it depends
I don't
on
know. I was on the answering service. I was put off from not talking to them this week till sometime next week. And the one we're dealing with on the lease, I don't know.
See how
They've got some things that need to be changed that I guess, Steve, is it safe to say they should have had a Kentucky lawyer help put this together for them?
We have identified our concerns and communicated those to them, and will proceed with all due speed.
Hey, that's a lawyer answer.
I can do that every once in a while.
Ed didn't have to even look up, and he smiled with his head down.
I was so confused on part of it that I'm going, Steve, you know this part, whatever you say is fine. And all, he's helped me greatly with this.
Okay, we'll be looking forward to updates then. Jeff, work out the best deal you can for us. Thank you. With that, we'll take it around the Hollywood Squares here. Magistrate Putman, good of the county.
Thank you, Judge. First of all, let me thank Kenny for keeping us informed on abreast of all the emails he sends out during that winter storm warning. So appreciate it, Kenny. Also, thank you to our employees at the county garage and all of you guys that struggled to get into work when you had to, even at the courthouse. So you've done a great job. Something I reported last meeting was about the Salvation Army will have a giveaway. Well, they had to cancel that due to the inclement weather, and it's been rescheduled to February 24th. It's on a Thursday. It'll be the food box giveaway. It'll be a drive-through or a walk-up, and it will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. First come, first serve. So the other one didn't take place, so we're going to try it one more time on February 24th.
Hey, Butch,
Yes, sir.
you said Thursday, but Thursday is the 25th. So is it Wednesday the 24th or Thursday the 25th?
Okay, it's February 24th, so
Tomorrow.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Other than that, Judge, all's good in the fourth. Thank you.
Thank you, Butch, and I hope word gets out about that giveaway. I'm sure many people still need that help. Master Moran, good to the county.
I would also like to thank the road department. They've been so good. I've had so many calls and they've been so helpful, and Columbia called and thanked them for their help out there. And he's been really helpful. Just wanted to say that. I have nothing as far as I know. All's good in the second.
Thank you. Master Barry.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. Thank you, Kenny. Thank everybody for the jobs they do. One thing for you, Bill, I did get a call from a citizen in my district and wanted to pass on to the road department about the roads. Said the snow removal was excellent. Said it was the best he'd ever seen, I believe. So he wanted to pass that on. So Bill, be sure and tell your guys. I did get a call about that. So job well done. Thanks, Judge. Everything's good in District 1, I believe.
Excellent. Master McCullum.
Well, I would be less than I guess honest, but the staffs for all the offices have just been outstanding through this difficult time, and especially the road department and the sheriff's office. And I think we all owe them a debt of gratitude for what they've done for our county. Everything pretty much is okay in the 5th. Of course, I don't have any roads and I don't have any ditches and so forth. And that sort of leads me to another issue. I hope everybody got their email from J.C. Young on KRS 67.045. We have an obligation to make sure that we've got one man, one vote in all the magisterial districts, and they got the same number of people approximately in each district. That has not always been the case. Back in the 60s, the fiscal court's hand got called on that. They had 8 magistrates at that time, and there was a difference between like 450. The fiscal court's hand got called on that. They had 8 magistrates at that time, and there was a difference between.
Yeah, it's me. I'm trying to get that thing off.
450. The fiscal court's hand got.
Okay, there you go, Charlie.
Okay, so their hand got called because there was a difference of almost 10 times in one magisterial district versus another. I mean, and that's the way it had been for some time. That's the way they sort of liked it that way. It's pretty much a good old boy system. What was going to happen was if they did it and divided it up into 8 districts, you were going to end up with 5 in the city and 4 and 3 in the county. And I think they probably just is probably unconstitutional what they did is they cut it back to 5, and put 2 solidly in the city so that would take all the city up, so they could always guarantee to have 3 people in the county. I think we need to reconsider that and either do 5 and cut it where we all have some roads and all have some ditches. This court, I don't think there's any person here that doesn't care about the city or the people in the city that are in the city. We care about the roads and ditches. This is a great court, but that's not always going to be the case. And we need to all have a you know, a little bit of the pie in here that we've got. I'm thinking we may need to have a committee appointed or something. We can put this on the agenda next month, or yeah, so it would be next month, and see what Steve says. My understanding is they're not going to get the census done, and the legislature is going to have to pass some kind of bill to allow us to do it. What's that's going to do is going to mean you're going to kick down the can down the road where we can't change these things or you know, get it corrected until after the next election. But it's something I think we are obligated to take a look at. Steve, would you not agree with that?
Hey, before Steve answers, I just want to make sure all the magistrates know what Master McCollum's talking about. This is a redistricting year. Every 10 years after the census, each county is charged with resetting their magisterial district lines or their commission lines so that each magistrate or commissioner in their county represents approximately the same number of people. That's what Master McCollum is referring to when he says 1 man, 1 vote, 1 woman, 1 vote. And there is a procedure spelled out in Kentucky law about how we go about that, including appointing a committee to review the data and help set the new map lines. But normally the census data is already available to us by springtime so that we can go about the business of redistricting if we need to. And because of COVID, it's going to be delayed in getting that census information. So with that, I'll turn it over to Steve to talk about this conversation and what we would have to do as a county normally in order to do what Master McCollum's talking about, is considering how we divide up the county. So Steve, anything you want to add there?
Yes, you're right. The statutes are pretty clear about how reapportionment of the districts is to occur, as far as that there's a committee that's put together, there's a commission put together. That group will come up with a plan and present that to fiscal court. The problem is, as the judge identified, the lack of census data input there. And that's something that every county is going to be facing. I will say, with regard to some of the other issues in prior redistricting, about 10 years ago, we were able to really take a good bite at that using GIS. The folks at the Henderson County GIS were fantastic about being able to overlay maps and make sure that we had these very accurate. But that was, of course, using the census data. Now, what that did, though, that commission generally just kind of fiddled along the edges of each of the magisterial districts to make sure that they were equal. If there is to be a radical change in the general area and shape of those districts, that is something that fiscal court input to that commission would be very helpful, because my guess is that they're probably not going to seek to make a major change and then present it to the fiscal court if they don't think there's a chance that it might get approved and they might get sent back to the drawing board. So we do have some timelines on that. I know the Magistrates and Commissioners Association is trying to work with the Census Bureau to try to hustle them up, but it may be a problem because we do have that filing period opening in November, where people would be filing to run for the districts for the next 4 years as they are constituted at that time. So we are going to be under the gun if we don't get that census data in very soon.
And I think what Master McCollum is suggesting, and make sure I get this right, Charlie, what he is asking us to perhaps consider through the commission process and all the requirements of KRS is to redraw districts so that no district is exclusively in the county or exclusively in the city, that each district includes a little bit of both. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Well, I think that's only right, that we all have some pie, that we're responsible for the roads. I mean, it's not it's not that that the county magistrates have all these roads they've got to take care of and get the phone calls, and we don't. I think we should divide it up where you've got some city and I've got some county and got some roads, I've got some ditches, and we all work together. This is great court, and we really, I appreciate everybody and how well everybody has worked together, because it's an unusually good court from my perspective. Unfortunately, this came up in 2001, and we talked about it. Bev Key had left, and unfortunately, Bill Newman got appointed, and he made a promise that he would not run for office. And when we came down to this, he was the deciding vote on it, and Charlie Alexander did not want to change. Bill, I talked to Bill, and he thought it was a good idea if we changed and just went down to 4 magistrates rather than 5, and then everybody had a little bit, and all the county magistrates right now would lose about 1/3 of their roads, which would go to the other magistrate, and then they would end up with some of the city, and it would make it a fair, sort of a homogeneous type of area rather than just one little area. But Charlie Alexander asked him not to do it, and he said, "Well, I'm only here I'm not running, and I've only got the appointment." So he did not vote for it, and so that killed it. But I think it's a good idea. I just, for me to have no roads, have no ditches, and everything, and I assure you, I care about the roads, I care about the ditches, and I think it's the right thing to do. But and I'm willing, if it came down to something like that, where if I was put in a district that it was going to run against anybody else, I would withdraw and not run. If that's what would make something work. I just want to make Henderson a better place. That's all I care about, and it's not about Charlie. It's I just would like to see things a little better rather than the way they are. I mean, they were created for the wrong reason. Had they been created for a specific reason, but I think they were created, and in fact, I've talked to some of the people that created it, and they told me as much. And they were afraid of the city folks, and I don't know why you're afraid of the city folks. Don't understand that. But there was a lot of going on back there about who got blacktop and who got stuff that was not appropriate. We put a lot of 1/4-inch blacktop down back in those days, right before election time, and it was not the right thing to do. And Tim's smiling because I think he knows that did happen. And then you put a 1/4-inch of blacktop down, it looks good for elections, but when it's over, a month or 2 later, it's just back to gravel, and it's just not the right thing to do. So anyway, I think we need to talk about it, think about it, and see what we need to do to get this done.
I'm sure that'll be part of the conversation as we go through this process. One favor though, Master McCollum, you're normally a very animated guy when you speak in court, but I got to tell you, when you do it while holding your phone on Zoom, I get a little seasick. So be careful. You don't want to see that out of your judge at a fiscal court meeting. You really don't. Well, thank you for once again another Charlie McCollum history lesson and something to think about as we move forward. So okay. I appreciate the sentiment, and we will, trust me, this will be a topic of major conversation as we get through the year, because we are required to do it. And for better or worse, this fiscal court now has the responsibility of falling within that 10-year window to handle this. So, but as Charlie said, I can't think of a better fiscal court to work through these issues with, because everybody is very conscientious.
And Judge, if I may, KRS 67.045 says the fiscal court shall initiate reapportionment proceedings in May, and that 3 citizens appointed along with the county clerk to be that commission. That may be something that it may be worthwhile to go ahead and kind of identify the folks that will ultimately be appointed in May and get them at least thinking about some of these issues as they prepare to bring something forth.
If it meets the pleasure of the court, I will work on trying to divine who those 3 people might be, a good representation, and work through March and April to see who I think can really get the job done, and then bring it in April perhaps to the court to approve. And in the meantime, if you have ideas about who they could be, please send them to me. And obviously we want thoughtful people, both from the city and the county, to work through this with us. And Renisa, as Steve said, will be a part of that too. So.
You don't need a motion to do that, do you, Brad?
No, I don't think so. Just
Good.
a
I'm good
general.
with- yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Master Southern, I'm sure you've been chomping at the bit. Go to the county.
Well, kind of to go back to Charlie's thing, I think that the legislators are looking at pushing it back past May. I do know that they want to get this done before the filing date, but for one, it's hard to file when you don't know where you're running for.
Absolutely.
So I happen to have a inside connection with one of the legislators. So and he was telling me that this is definitely on their plate right now to look at. They're not going to get the information as soon as they normally do, but they are looking at prolonging it so that we can get it done before the filing dates. So hopefully they'll get the information they need and we get that done. And I agree with you as far as the court goes. I think we've got one of the better courts we've ever had. County employees are, well, we're kicking butt and taking names. The sheriff's department's done a good job. They were out every day and night working wrecks, and my hat's off to you guys. Because all the wrecks were going on and stuff, don't mean all the other stuff that they have to deal with quit, because it didn't. So my hat's off to y'all, Ed. Good job. And the road department had a lot of snow, ice removal, got the hills sanded so we could get up and down, and they did a good job. Appreciate it. But guess what happens when the snow melts? Me and Bill was talking a while ago. When the snow melts, somehow the gravel melts with that snow. So please be patient. We know the roads are bad, muddy, nasty, and Bill's looking at it and trying to address that problem, but it's not going to happen overnight. And we really don't need to be putting gravel down right now because it'll melt away with the snow. So just be patient. We are definitely looking at it and we're going to try to get it done.
Tim, could I say one thing? If you would thank your inside source for his vote on the issue at the racetrack, I really appreciate it. It was really important for our community, I think. So
I think he's going to do us a good job. He cares about Henderson County and he's listening to the people. So I think he's going to do us a real good job. But I will tell him thank you.
Thank you.
And other than my gravel roads melting away, everything's good in the third. Thank you.
Good deal. Tim, getting back to roads, about this time every year, we have pothole issues and gravel road issues. And if Bill Hubiak would approve, all the rural magistrates or even the city magistrates who get calls about rural roads, the best thing people can do is to call the road department and very politely, please give them a report of whatever issue they have, reporting potholes and other such things. The key is to be respectful and polite and know that our road department's going to try to take care of all this as quickly as they can, do the best job they can, prioritize where they can, and we don't want to ignore anybody, but we can't, in many cases, get to it instantly. Just going to take a little patience, but letting Bill's office know where problems might occur is always helpful. But try not to make any promises we can't keep. I think the one thing you can promise is that we'll pass the word along to the road department and they'll get to it as quickly as possible. Is that fair to say, Bill?
Yes, sir. We'll try to get to it as soon as we can.
So thank you. Give you a heads up. Obviously, we've made a lot of progress on the I-69 bridge project. A lot of exciting news in the last month about the bridge. Kentucky is soon going to be filing for or applying for a large federal grant out of what they call the infra grant program. And part of that application process is getting letters of support from community leaders, both public and private. And the Evansville Chamber, my office, soon the Henderson Chamber, and various other organizations are going to be reaching out to business and political leaders for those letters. And I may send copies if the magistrates would like to pen a letter to add to the pile. The more support we can get, the better. And a sizable infra grant would really help Section 1 go even faster. And Section 1 is the portion from the 425 bypass up to 60. And so just heads up on that. And that's going to be happening quickly. All the applications have to be turned in by March 18th, along with the letters of support. So be watching your inbox for those. Anything you want to add to the input from all of us is much appreciated. Charlie mentioned Ellis Park. I really do appreciate Representative Dixon and Representative Miles for both their votes and their comments during what turned out to be a rather emotional pair of days with testimonies and debate on the floor of the Senate and the House. Especially the House debate was interesting and a little frustrating. I got to admit that I was watching the deliberations in my kitchen and had more than one thought of throwing something at the screen after a comment or two. But in the end, it turned out to our favor, the favor of all the counties and regions that have tracks and know the importance of those. So I agree with both Master McCullum and Master Southern's sentiments about getting the support from our local representatives for that vote. And I'm really happy that we can count on Ellis Park being here for another 100 years and seeing a lot of growth there and more jobs and investments. So,
Brad, I turned my TV off. I got so frustrated. I thought it was over. I mean, I really did. And with all the talk that they said, I thought there's no way this is going to pass. So I'm like you. It was just rather frustrating, but I appreciate the people that voted for it.
yeah, I'll say, and I want to couch my words carefully, like Mr. Gold always does here. But I wish there was as much passion about things like transportation infrastructure and pensions and other hugely important issues in the state as there was in the debate about what really amounts to a small portion of our life here in Kentucky. The overall experience of Kentuckians, those HHR machines are a tiny fraction of everything the state should be considering at the moment and having passionate debates about. I can only hope that in the last 2 or 3 weeks here, that same fervor to do what people think is best is turned on the big issues that have for so long been ignored or shoved to the side because they involve tough votes. We need tough people, brave people to make tough votes. And I hope the same bravery that people took when it came to HHRs exhibited in the next couple of weeks. How's that for a diplomatic?
Very good. Amen.
Yeah, I was about to amen him too, Charlie.
And because I got applause on that, I'll add this. Counties and cities have had to make very tough decisions in the last 5, 6, 7 years to deal with these things. Tax increases, cuts. We are fortunate in Henderson County that we had resources based on the very tough vote of the previous court, the previous judge, to raise the occupational tax at a time when they were in financial hard straits. Our state legislature needs to make those same brave, bold, tough decisions. They can't avoid it and reap some benefit by simply pushing expenses down onto the counties as they have done recently. They need to fix their own house before they ask us to do it for them. So amen to that. I hope. If there's not anything else, and I'm now off my soapbox officially, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
We have lots of motions and seconds. Mr. Weason, pick one out. I'll call it Magistrate Southard and Magistrate Moran. How about that? Make sure they all got in the book here. So with that, I appreciate you all, and all those in favor can leave.
Thank you.
See you. Thanks, Judge.
Oh.
Thank you.
Hey, Butch.
See you.